Welcome back, Scorpio. Thank you so much for being here for your bi-weekly messages. My name is Emily Gear. I'm a transformative energy healer and a multi-dimensional channel. I want to apologize right away because I keep having coughing fits. I was sick last week and my throat is still irritated. So that is happening. Sorry. Secondly, I can't believe how insincere that just came off. I really am sorry. Secondly, the AC is running in the background. It is loud because I live in an old house and it is just too damn hot to turn it off even though it's September. So hopefully the adjustments I made to the mic will make it less distracting. All right, so what we're doing is we are getting your messages from Source for the next 2 weeks. I do want to mention two things. Number one is that we are back to doing the extended relationship readings. So that link to the Vimeo is in the description box below, along with the questions that we ask in that reading. Definitely check it out. It is super cheap, you guys. And while I absolutely appreciate you all here and your likes, your comments, your shares, your just subscribes, it is also very, very helpful when you support me in that way by checking out my Vimeo channel. Finally, another way to support and also get the most finely tuned assistance for yourself is to set up a private session with me, whether it be for energy healing, a reading, or a combination of everything that I do, including Akashic records. Sorry, I don't know why my nose is now itching. That can be scheduled on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. I will note that there are not many appointments remaining for September, primarily because I am leaving town the 20th to the 27th to do a workshop, actually, and hopefully come back with a lot of new insights and skills to work on with you guys. So that said, if you do want an appointment, please make it as soon as possible, or you are likely to not get an opportunity to see me until October. Okay. All of these sessions are done over Zoom or on the phone, unless you happen to be in the area that I am right now, which is Southern Ohio. And will eventually be New York City, but not just yet. Okay, so without further ado, Scorpio's messages, please, for the next 2 weeks. Asking Source for Scorpio's messages for the next 2 weeks. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus also. Tell me to relax. Okay. All right. What you've got here are the 9 of Bows, respect. It's like the 9 of Wands, kind of. 4 of Arrows, rest, which is like the 4 of Swords. And finally, the Green Woman. Kind of love that picture, honestly. What I'm getting from this is that you are experiencing almost like a revitalization, like you're getting new life poured into you right now. I think that you have put down boundaries with some people. You have demanded their respect and their, I almost want to say, compliance. So it's possible that you have really had to put your foot down in positions where, or in situations where you are in a position to demand something like compliance. All right. It's very much a 3D message, but let's be honest, we all live in the 3D world. So you may have had to do that recently. And in doing this and setting those boundaries, you created for yourself a kind of sacred space in which you are able to then regenerate. experience a lot of internal growth. This experience of setting the boundaries may have kind of set off what I feel like is almost like you, by the very nature of stepping up into your power and standing up for yourself, particularly if you carry the divine feminine energy, regardless, everybody carries both, right? But if you are really holding the template of the divine feminine, regardless if your body is male or female, I do feel that you have stepped into your power in a way that maybe you have not in the past. And that this has involved removing yourself from situations where you were trying to control them, or where you were forced into a position that you needed to control a situation that you did not feel you were in control of. That sounds crazy, but the picture they're showing me is actually the way that a dog feels when they have separation anxiety. In many cases, that's caused because they are given too much free rein in a house or something like that, and they do not feel capable. So when a dog is out and about in a house, in an area, they are naturally territorial. They naturally feel like they need to control the space. And that dog does not have the self, is not secure enough in itself, insofar as a dog can be. They're not confident enough to feel that they can control the entire space. And therefore, when you leave as the person who provides for them and is the control of the space, they panic. All right. So I'm almost feeling like you were in that kind of a situation, however that translates to your life, and you had to set some boundaries and say, we are not doing this anymore. I do not feel comfortable with this situation, whatever it was. Okay. Whether it was the way that a relationship was unfolding, I kind of feel like that it was that for you, or maybe the way that somebody was relying on you for certain, maybe advice or help. It was some way that was inappropriate. It might be a codependent type situation where you were getting caught in there and you needed to say no more. I feel like that was done. And I feel like this new sense of, this is like the Empress card, and I feel like this new influx of regenerative energy is because you cut off that which was draining your energy. Now, this card says respect, but I'm also reading it like the Nine of Wands, where that, where it's the wounded warrior, somebody who has been through it. Your energy is gone. It was drained. And in some ways, this is the same, because what do you give a warrior who has been through it? Respect, right? So this is more the result of the battle. And this is the space created after the battle. Okay? This is the external result. This is the internal result, is what I'm hearing right now. So lots of new growth for you in the next 2 weeks. If you have not already taken the stand, then it's important that you do so. Perfect. We have the wheel. We have balance. And we have the Ace of Arrows, which is like the Ace of Swords. So this is, you've aligned with your truth in a way that you have not in the past. I'm speaking about this in the past tense. You have aligned. So maybe you have just done this, but also know that if you haven't, this could be coming within the next 2 weeks. But there's an alignment here, which is pure fucking magic, all right? It might even be raising your Kundalini energy, looking at this card. The alignment is with your personal truth. Nobody else's truth. This is a higher truth that exists for you and you alone, and nobody else gets to tell you what that is. I almost feel like this crossing of your boundaries may have been with an energy that was very bossy or controlling. And and they somehow expected you. There is this sense of someone expecting you to do more than you are comfortable with, or be more than you're comfortable with, or be somebody that was not aligned with your truth. Okay? So just know that having taken that stand, you have reordered everything that is happening. You've brought it into balance. And that is honestly, that's the message that just came out for Libra. That's the message that came out for the weekly energy report. So definitely go listen to that if you haven't already. Everything is profoundly moving into balance, and it has a lot to do with setting boundaries or cutting out the things that are not serving us. I know I say that ad nauseum, like everybody's got to be sick of me saying that, but the reason I keep saying that is we keep not fucking doing it, right? So if you do it, then you don't have to hear me say that anymore. And that is not an admonishment. Everything happens in divine time, which is another meaning of this wheel. This was the right time for it to happen, okay? There is a power that came to you through having to go through the situation that you did, which forced you to need to set those boundaries. And that power is, I want to say, irreplaceable, or it's so important to you. It's so important to your growth. It had to come in the way that it did. All right. So I don't want you to feel in any way that you know, especially if you may be shedding a kind of victim template, sort of shedding the victim, feeling like a victim, feeling like people have victimized you, and you're stepping up into your power was an important part of releasing that. So don't then beat yourself up for being in the position to have this experience to clear that karma, that label, that template. It's what you were supposed to do, right? So there is literally no way to judge that poorly. It's part of your truth. That whole experience is part of your truth. So I really feel like there's, in the next 2 weeks, a profound experiencing of what your truth is, which has been coming through for us for weeks now. And they're saying that something is weaving together for you, all right? The card is called Balance. However, it's number 14. They just drew my attention to that because I was just thinking of it as balance, right? It's number 14, which is the Temperance card. And it is a weaving together, right? Obviously with these snakes here. Oh my God. The other thing about snakes is medicine. It looks like the caduceus, the way those two snakes weave up the pole. While this is not a caduceus and this is not Greek mythology or Greek symbolism, I'm also pulling that out, and I feel like with this balance comes a profound healing. Almost what wants to come out of my mouth is both physically and mentally. So if you are struggling with physical issues or psychological issues or mental issues or even emotional issues, the two words that came out were both physically and mentally. So I feel like for a lot of you it's going to be in both of those realms, but it could also, especially the mentally here with the Ace of Swords, but it could also be emotionally. Know that there is a healing taking place and that you do not need to do anything but stand your ground, but set your limits with this person and step away to receive this healing. And what that really means for you is you need to do nothing more than live your truth to receive this healing. And that's a little bit in alignment, or a lot bit in alignment. Jesus, I'm already over time. A lot bit in alignment with the messages that have been coming through about the way that we're receiving upgrades, the way that we're receiving healing anymore is very easy. It's surrendering into who you are. That's all you got to do. You don't have to come up with any crazy shit. You don't have to go. I mean, if you find energy, here I am, an energy healer, telling you don't need to go to an energy healer. You don't need to unless you feel called to it. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with you simply surrendering into who you are. And if that says to you, I would really benefit from energy work with so-and-so, then do it. But if you feel like going to a reader or a healer, the only one I'm not willing to say is I'm not going to tell you not to go to a doctor. Okay, you better go to a doctor if you feel like you need to go to a doctor. But for any of these other things, if you feel like you're just doing that to keep up with the Joneses, to like make sure you stay ahead, then don't worry about that. It's not about that. Okay? That makes sense? I don't know why we went off on that tangent, but somebody, I guess, needed to hear that. But profound physical healing and psychological healing coming in. All right, since we're at the end of our time here, let's just get some final thoughts from Source, some closing comments, if you will. All right. I've got the Wren here, which is the Page of Arrows, Page of Swords. The Eight of Arrows, struggle. Jesus. The Three of Arrows, which is jealousy. And number 7, the Archer. Can I just say that the way that I'm feeling these cards all together is something like, and this Wren is coming up to me, it's showing up in the snow, and it's showing up as like the solitary song in a desolate landscape, right? I don't know if Wrens sing, I guess they do, they're birds, but I'm hearing it as the solitary song in a desolate landscape. And the persistence of that solitary song in a landscape that does not permit it, that does not support it, is something like the strength, the will, the focus of the Archer here. That the persistence of that song is through the persistence of your will to align. Sorry, I'm getting like snuffly. Your will to align with who you are. And nothing else, and no one else. And I feel like there's something uncompromising with the way that you're doing it right now, because I feel like other people may have discouraged you in the past, or maybe your own belief system discouraged you in the past. Showing up here with the Three of Arrows, which is like the Three of Swords, which can be heartbreak. Here it shows up as jealousy. And the Eight of Arrows, which can be like the Eight of Swords, which is like being tied up by your own mental by your own fear. Okay? Here it says struggle, so it's a struggle. And this is that desolate landscape, that infertile ground, and yet you have persisted to pull through one of the most fertile cards in the entire deck, the Green Woman. The fertility comes out of your persistence to align with your truth in an environment which is desolate. Okay? That's your message for today, or this week, or these 2 weeks, all right? I hope it makes sense to you. I hope it's helpful. I'm going to jump right into your relationship reading on Vimeo, so if you'd like to meet me there, the link is in the info box below this video, as are the questions we're asking in that video, so that you know what you're getting into. And I hope to see you all there. And if not, then I will see you in the next 2 weeks. All right, guys, thank you so much.